I'm Geoffrey Harpham. I'm a STIAS fellow, and I'm working on a project that involves a compilation of all the documents that established the concept of race in the 18th and 19th centuries, from 1750 to about 1900. What I've done is I've searched the secondary literature, I've retrieved or culled the primary literature, all the texts in which the concept of race was articulated, at first very tentatively, very uncertainly, with a great deal of imprecision, but with increasing specificity over the course of the 19th century, until, in a most unexpected development, the scientists of the European continent and in the United States finally determined that there actually was no race that could be studied by a scientist. Most interestingly, at just that time, the concept of race was picked up by other people for other purposes, not as a scientific concept, but as a social or a political concept. Anyhow, that trajectory from initial exploratory probing of the concept of race until the final rejection of race as an object of science is the subject of my work. What my work has revealed, this immersion in primary documents, is something that's very, very different from the current consensus or the current received wisdom. Received wisdom today contends that the concept of race is a social construct or an invention created by pseudoscience or by racists for their own political or social or cultural purposes. But my immersion in the primary documents suggests a very, very different narrative. By and large, it was created by good faith thinkers who were working with available evidence in a very, very uncertain terrain. It was the final abandonment of the concept of race as a scientific concept that led to the received wisdom today that race is an invention or a social construct. Interestingly, received wisdom credits itself with that discovery and blames science for the position that in fact science has discredited. What I've done is I've gone through about 150 primary documents. I've selected about 55 of those. These constitute entries to which I've written headnotes of up to 2,000 words each. All told, I have about 200,000 words, about 66,000 of which are written by me in an effort to contextualize, historicize, and cross-reference the material that I have. There are very few concepts that command the public attention, especially in the United States right now, more compellingly than the subject of race. But on the other hand, there are very few subjects of real historical interest about which so little is known. And there's a reason for that. The reason is that the documents that constitute knowledge there are obscure, they're out of print, they're embedded in very large volumes or multiple volumes with multiple editions. They're hard to get. They're hard to search once you've gotten them. So what I've done, in a sense, is to create the field that can now be studied. And I think that when it is studied, we'll have a very, very different understanding of our cultural and intellectual history than we have right now, which of course produces a different self-understanding of the present.